ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं वादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Verse number 347. परावरैकत्व विवेकवह्नि दात्य विद्या गहनं यशेषं किं स्यात् पुनः संसरणस्य बीजम् अद्वैत भावं समुपयुषोऽस्य। I repeat again. परावरैकत्व विवेकवह्नि दात्य विद्या गहनम् अशेषं किं स्यात् पुनः संसरणस्य बीजम् अद्वैत भावं समुपयुषोऽस्य। See the translation. The fire of knowledge of identity of self with the Brahman entirely consumes the impenetrable forest of ignorance for one who has realized the state of non-duality. Is there any seed left for future transmigration? See the translation again. The knowledge of the identity of Brahman and Jiva entirely consumes the impenetrable forest of avidya for one who has realized their state of oneness. Is there any seed left for future transmigration? In previous verse, we studied Yasmad Vimuktastu na punar sansriti. There is no more transmigration for one who is liberated from this world. Same thought is continued. Shankaracharya, to explain this topic, he is using a metaphor. He says, like the forest fire burns all forest. It burns everything, whatever comes its way. Forest may be very dense, very dangerous, very fearful to all. But the fire enjoys it. For fire, the forest is just a fuel, nothing matter of fear. Here is giving this metaphor, Paravaraikatva Vivekavandhi. He says, Vivek, discrimination power. the capacity to understand real and unreal, the capacity to understand consciousness and inert, self and not self. Vivekchudamani. Here he using the very classical word per hour. Per means absolute. Hour means limited. Para varikatva vivekavandhi. Per means like we use word Paramatma. Absolute, omnipresent, everywhere, always. That's the param. Our means which limited, which in the body. So being a Vedant seeker, we can understand that in the body there is a self, an individual self. And there is absolute self, cosmic consciousness, supreme consciousness. We call it God. God. Now, we know three things: world, objective world, self, limited self, conditioned self, Jivatma, and another state is, we call it the God. This is our concept. This is our understanding. This is our belief, not realization. Just believe. I believe there is self in the body. I believe there is a God who is everywhere, omnipresent, and obviously, objective world is everyone can experience it. So our self, the individual self, is between two. These two are the objective world and the absolute consciousness. In between two, the individual soul remains. And automatically, because of Maya, because of ignorance, the individual self becomes identified with objective world. Objective world. So we are identified with the objects, with the body, with the mind, sense organs. Here Shankaracharya says, now one thing has to be done by a seeker. You identify yourself with the supreme consciousness. Disconnect from the world and it connect to the supreme consciousness. Paravara ekatva vivekavandi. These are not two. Like in state of worldly life, We identified ourselves with the mind, with the body, and then we cannot understand difference between body and self. They look very similar. They look one. So you have to do one thing. You connect yourself with the supreme consciousness, and it is easy. It is very easy, logical. To identify consciousness with the inert is very difficult. You have done it very easily. Identify consciousness with the object very difficult. It needs very big ignorance. It requires tremendous ignorance. Without big ignorance, you cannot mix a consciousness with the object. It requires tremendous ignorance, blindness. But identify with the consciousness, with supreme consciousness, it very easy, very logical, very practical. Just try. Just try. So he says, Paravara ekatva viveka. The consciousness which is residing in your body and consciousness which is everywhere, omnipresent, God. You identify yourself, you identify this self with the Supreme Self. Then the difference between both will disappear. Then there will be no difference between self and Supreme Consciousness. This is the fire. According to Shankara, he explains that Paravar Ekatva Viveka Vanni. Vanni means fire. And this fire will burn avidya gahana masesam. This fire will burn, will destroy all ignorance. All ignorance. Not step by step. Immediately, you realize this is the nature of the knowledge. It does its work immediately. Knowledge does not work in steps. It does immediately. When someone realizes an ignorance, immediately disappears, dispels. Ashesam, it will not lift a single trace also. Kim shat puna sansaranasya bijam advaita bhavam. Very important point is, which is I am trying to make you understand. The point is advaita bhavam. This is the main point in this verse. Advaita bhavam. Bhav means understanding. Understanding. The understanding of the duality is because of ignorance. Only ignorance is their cause. Advaita bhavam. Duality to supreme consciousness. We call it God. And one consciousness is within my body, your body. So there are two. This is the duality. This duality will not help you. Yes, you will get some virtue. You will get heaven. You will get good deeds, good lokas, but they will not be always. They would be finished. Shankaracharya saying very firmly, Advaita Bhavam, you have to achieve Advaita Bhavam. If someone has established in this state, then Sansara Saranas Bijam, he's asking question. He asking question. He says, like, Kim Shat Puna Sansaranasya Bijam, what is the cause for transmigration? The cause of transmigrations is ignorance. The cause of transmigrations is duality. When you understood Advaita Bhavam, all duality will disappear. Then there is no transmigration, there is no misery. So we have to understand that there is no two entity, there is only one entity, that is the consciousness, super consciousness, and the consciousness, they are one. Now next one. आवरणस्य निवृत्तिर्भवति सम्यक् पदार्थ दर्शनात् मिथ्या ज्ञान विनाशस्तत् दिक्षेप जनित दुःख निवृत्ति. I repeat. आवरणस्य निवृत्तिर्भवति सम्यक् पदार्थ दर्शनतः मिथ्या ज्ञान विनाशस्तत् दिक्षेप जनित दुःख निवृत्ति. See the translation. The veil that hides truth gets lifted. Indeed, when reality is fully experienced, soon follows the destruction of illusory knowledge and cessation of misery brought about by false projections. See the translation again. The veil that hides truth vanishes only when the reality is fully realized. Thence follows the destruction of false knowledge and cessation of misery brought about by the destruction caused by that. Now, as we discussed before, the Maya has two powers. One is willing power, another is projecting power. So first, the willing power, what does? Willing power does, it hides reality. It hides reality of the objects. Let's understand in two levels, objective level and subjective level. It is like this: if there is any chair and this chair is covered, so we can guess there is a chair, but we do not know clearly about this chair. So there is chair, like this is book, but I do not know which book is this because it is covered. So because of cover, we cannot understand clearly what is this book. So cover what does? It covers everything. It is like darkness. Darkness hides everything. All things may be in front of you, but we cannot see because they are covered by the darkness. So objective perspective is there is a chair, there is a book, there is a building, there may be any other object. They are covered, and because of cover, we cannot see. And same, I have pain in my head. I have headache. I can experience that. Other cannot. I am hungry, so there is a hunger. I can experience hunger. Other cannot. In Sanskrit, in philosophical language, we call it pratyaksha. Aksha means the sense organs. Aksha means sense organs. Pratyaksha means direct. When our sense organs directly contact any object, then pratyaksha happens. Like my eye, when directly see any object, so this is the pratyaksha. If I see this is the rose flower, this is a pratyaksha. If some other one tells me there is a rose flower, this is not pratyaksha. So pratyaksha means direct. When our sense organs gets direct connection with the objects, then we call it pratyaksha. It is doubtless. No doubt. You will not say, I believe, I have faith. No. If you see the rose flowers, then you will not say, I believe this is rose flower. No. This is. So pratyaksha means doubtless. But it requires direct connection with the sense organs. Same. Now see the perspective of the self. We must experience direct. आवरणस्य निवृत्तिर भवति सम्यक पदार्थ दर्शनता. When we see something is there, but I'm not sure what is there, because my direct contact is not with that object. The cover is very thick. It is like you are standing in the open space, there is clouds in the sky, and the sun is behind of the skies, behind the clouds. You cannot see the sun. You cannot see the sunlight. But slowly, the layer of the clouds becomes thinner. Then sunlight starts coming. And more clouds becomes thinner, then you can see There is a sun. But yet, we are not watching direct sun. Yet there is clouds. Here Shankaracharya used word Samyak Padartha Darshana. Samyak means properly, without any obstacles, not gradually. Avaranasya nivrittirabhavati samyak padartha darshanata. When we understand, when we realize there is a sun in the sky, now clear. Doubtless knowledge has happened. No doubt. But if there is clouds, I'm not sure where sun is. When he says Samyak Padarth Darshanat, when we understand very clearly object, then the ignorance will disappear. Avaranasya nivirtir Samyak Padartha Darshanata. Because we don't understand, we don't realize, then we have so much concepts. Now we are Vedant student. The problem is we are not ignorant, not realize. You are not ready to accept totally ignorance. And yet you don't have achieved the absolute knowledge. In this state we can imagine so many concepts. Soul may be this, soul may be that. In this state, all religions are in this state. The religion says you are not just material, you are more than material. You are soul. But if you don't have any clear idea, if you don't have any realization, directly realization, then we think so many concepts. Soul may be small, it may be big, it may be in the whole body, it may be in a particular place. There are so many stories about self. Because we don't have realization. Shankaracharya says, Samyak Padartha Darshanata. These all illusory will go when you understand clearly. And Mithya Jnana Vinasastat Dikshepa Janita Dukkha Nivritti. So this is the Mithya Jnana. Mithya Jnana, knowledge is there, but not correct knowledge. Knowledge, obviously there is knowledge. The worldly man is an ignorant person. They don't think about the self. They are very busy with matters. But next level, the religious people, the seeker of truth, they are in between next level. But they also have mithya knowledge, mithya jnanam. There are so many theories because still they don't have self-realization. They have just concept. Just concept. Believe, I believe soul is like this. I believe soul will go heaven. Some will say My belief says you will go to hell, heaven, other body. There are so many beliefs because there is no direct realization. Now Shankaracharya says, if you are realized, then mithya jnana vinasha. The mithya jnana, the all wrong notions about the self, all wrong concepts about the Atman, Brahman will destroy. And immediately, vikshep janita dukkha nivritti. Vikshep janita dukkha nivritti. So we were talking about two powers of Maya. First was avaran, veiling power, and another is vikshep. So there are so many concepts. This is the vikshep, not clarity. Sometimes you see like this, sometimes like that. Beliefs can change. Knowledge never. Belief can come and go. Beliefs can come and go because they are baseless. But knowledge not. It is always same. Your knowledge of the chair is always same. It will not change. But this is my chair. It can be changed. This is my chair. This is not my chair. This can be changed. But this is chair. This knowledge will always be the same. So another level is avaran, vikshep, restlessness. And because of this restlessness, miseries happens. There are miseries, boundaries. What is the cause? Because you are not sure. You are not sure. All miseries are because of this restlessness. If cause has gone, then effects also will go. Vikshep, dukkha nivritti, all the miseries will be finished. Now next one. एतत् त्रितयं दृष्टं सम्यक् रज्जु स्वरूपता विज्ञानात् तस्मात् वस्तुस्तत्त्वं ज्ञातव्यं बन्धमुक्तये विदुषा. I repeat again. एतत् त्रितयं दृष्टं सम्यक् रज्जु स्वरूप विज्ञानात् तस्मात् वस्तुस्तत्त्वं ज्ञातव्यं बन्धमुक्तये विदुषा. See the translation. These three are observed in the rope when its real nature is fully apprehended. Hence, the wise person should know the true nature of the things for the sake of liberation from bondage. See the again translation. These three are observed in the cause of the rope when its real nature is fully known. Therefore, the wise man should know the real nature of things for the breaking of this bondage. This verse has so many things to say. Etat trayam. Let's understand. Here Shankaracharya is giving very classical example of Vedanta, snake and rope. You have heard so many times, and I also told so many times. It should be, because it is standardized example of Vedanta, Raju, the rope, and snake. Here he is saying that three things happening. When we understand that this is the snake, this misjudgment, this is the misjudgment. There was rope, and by mistake, we understood that this is the snake. Then there are three things happens. One is the rope disappears. Actually, there is a rope, but now rope has disappeared, and snake appears. So one thing is rope disappears. Another thing is the snake appears. And third thing is, due to that illusionary snake, fears, trembling, abnormal heartbeat, etc. start happening. So Shankaracharya wrote, Etat Tritayam. These three things. I repeat again. When we misjudged a rope as a snake. Okay, I'm giving an example. The example is like this. You are in the morning, you are walking in the sea beach. And just sun is arose, and the sunlight is coming. In distance, you see there is a silver. There was mother of the pearl. Because the sunlight, the mother of the pearls looks like silver. And the greed was there. In case of rope and snake, fear was there. Because of that fear, snake appears. And because of that greediness, the silver appears here. And you see, there is silver. You became happy. Today day is very good. I got something. And there are so many silver. You became happy. Ran very fast. So there are three things. There is silver, which does not exist. So silver appears, and the mother of the pearl disappears, and third one is the greediness. Three things. He says, Etat Tritayam Drishtam. In case of the rope and snake, the rope disappears, snakes appears, and there is fear, heartbeat abnormal, trembling in the body. Now Shankaracharya asks, what should one do in this state? What should one do to overcome this state, to defeat this condition? What one should do? He says a simple way is Tasmat Vastu Sattam Gyatavyam. Tasmat, one thing has to be done, no more. You may take a stick, you may hit the snake, you may chant some mantra, you may do so many things. They are useless. Nothing will work. Only one thing is essentially has to be done, and that is Gyatavyam. Tasmat Vastu Tattam Gyatavyam. You should know what is this. Take a light, because there is a darkness. So you have to take a light, go close. Vastu Tattvam Gyatavyam. You have to know. You should know what is this. Is it rope or snake? Then react. First you should know. Tasmat Sankaracharya said, Vastu Satattvam Gyatavyam. Know what is this? Is this rope or is this snake? If there is snake, then no confusion, no delusion. The snake is snake. Then take precautions. If there is a rope, then your fear, your trembling, your heartbeat is useless. So he says, Gyatavyam bandha mukte unsa. If you want liberation, you have to know the reality of the self. Very clear message, very clear understanding. Bandha mukte vidusha gyatavyam. He says very directly, a learned person, an intelligent person, a seeker of the liberation, he has to know. He has to know what is reality. You experience that I am in misery, I am in bondage, I will go to die, I was born. You are telling your story. We have taken so many times birth without taking any birth. We have died so many times without dying any time. Think. He is not saying just accept. He says, think. Find out what is reality. Gyatavyam bandha mukta vidusha. You have to know, is there any bondage? If I am in bondage, who am I? Gyatavyam. Only condition is you have to know. If you have known, then all miseries, all limitations will be finished. So only condition is Gyatavyam, the knowledge. What real is, what unreal is, what is reality. He is not imposing anything. He is not imposing anything. You accept that, you accept this. No. He is giving open invitation to you. He is giving open invitation to everyone. No Gyatavyam. And without knowing, No one can understand this reality. Gyatavyam. So this is a very important part of this verse. Gyatavyam bandha mukte vidusha. The seeker, the learned person, he has to know what reality is. You are free. You will come to know there is no boundaries. There is no misery. Nothing. You were so afraid because that snake which does not exist, you were going to die by heart attack by that snake which does not exist. You were running so fast for that silver which does not exist. He says, Gyatavyam. Very, very clearly, you know it. Now, next. अयोग्नि योगा दिवसत समन्वयान मात्रादिरूपेण विजृंभतेधि तत्कार्यमेतद् द्वितीयं यतो मृषा दृष्टं स्वप्न भ्रम मनोरथेषु. I repeat one more time. अयोग्नि योगा दिवसत समन्वयान मात्रादिरूपेण विजृंभतेधि तत्कार्यमेतद् द्वितीयं यतो मृषा दृष्टं भ्रम स्वप्न मनोरथेषु. See the translation. Just as a piece of iron through contact with fire manifests as fire, the intellect manifests itself as the knower and the known. Through the immanence of Brahman, these two, the effect of the intellect, are observed to be unreal as a delusion, dream, and imagination. Now, he says, as a piece of iron, we put it into fire. The nature of the iron is cold. Its temperature is normal. Its color is black. Its touch is very hard. It is not fire. But when we put it into fire, by over the time, it will take qualities of the fire. And it can burn something. And it takes red colors. It looks like fire. It is iron. It is a piece of the iron. It is a rod of the iron. But now, because of the contact of fire, it becomes like fire. It can burn. It can give you light. But these two qualities, the heat, the light, these two qualities are not quality of the iron. These all qualities are of fire, and this quality is in iron. They are borrowed. Similarly, this is the example. Shankaracharya is giving examples so many times to make us understand, because topic very serious. Now, similarly, our intellect is like a piece of the iron. Our intellect does not have the quality of experiencer because it is experienced. Our intellect is an object. And it is equipment, very highly advanced equipment. But being very close to consciousness, it takes quality of the consciousness. Like iron takes quality of the fire. Then what happens? Like fire becomes, like iron becomes like a fire, same our intellect feels like a consciousness. Shankaracharya says, Sat Samanvayan. Sat means consciousness. The contact with the consciousness, the intellect, matradi rupena vijrimbhate. It appears matra. Very classical word. Very classical word. Matra means what? Matra means in Sanskrit, we call matra means measurement. When we measure something maybe 5 feet, 6 feet, that's all. 1 kg, 2 kg. So this is the matra only. 6 feet only. 1 kg only. So this is the matra. Here, when we measure something, it is our bodily knowledge. See, when we see something, this is the chair. This is the chair. Here, chair is a maya. Maya. Very philosophical words. And the knower is mata. Mata and maya. I will not going to make it difficult. Matra means matradi rupena. Because contact of the self, consciousness, the intellect gets power, it becomes knower and known. It becomes knower and knower. Matradi rupena. So one says, I could not understand what are you saying. So Shankaracharya is giving 3 examples. Not one, 3 examples. How intellect, how our mind play 2 roles. It becomes known, it becomes knower. How? See, one is Brahma, delusion. Another is dream state. Delusion, dream, and imagination. These are 3 states. Delusion, when we are in delusion, like we see the water in the sand, mirage. So there is no water. There is sand. But our intellect is their water. So known water is our intellect. The knower is our intellect. This is the state of delusion. Another example is dream. It is very easy. You can understand very easily In dream state, there is nothing, just your mind. Mind is playing every role. Mind is playing all games. In dream state, there is a known. There is a known knower. And not different. There is a not knower apart from the intellect. There is a not known apart from the intellect. Only intellect is playing all games, all roles. Intellect is known, intellect is knower. Nothing else. And third one, he is giving imagination, your imagination state. When you imagine your eyes are closing, you are planning in the future. Everything there is only your intellect. So he says, Drishtam Brahm Swapna Manorathesu, only intellect, because of contact of consciousness, it takes two forms. Drishta and Drishya, knower and known. So intellect creates duality. He's going to say that intellect creates duality. Tat karyam metad dvitiyam yato mrishaha. Mrisha means asat, unreal. When in dream state, because dream state is easy to understand, in dream state there is a known and there is a knower. Only intellect, only mind, it creates duality. Because of your own mind, you become happy. Because of your mind, you become angry, greedy, fearful. Because your mind, your intellect creates duality. Same, in waking state also, your intellect is creating duality. Understand the trick of the intellect. So now, today we have to stop here. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Isharo Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.